He built a $20 million moving company without owning a single truck.
I had zero money.
Year one, $50,000. Year three, $200,000. Year four, he hit $750,000. How?
We told customers, hey, look, just pay us whatever you think we're worth.
And that really worked?
People actually paid more because we gave them something that nobody else did.
Today, we're breaking down the $9 marketing stunt that built a $20 million brand.
We grew so fast, our competitors literally tried to shut us down.
And the exact blueprint Aaron would use if he had to build it all again from scratch.
I dropped out of community college. I had nothing, just an idea and some business cards. Look, if I can do it, anyone can do it.
Aaron, it's really good to be with you.
Thank you.
Tell us where we are and where did all this come from?
Yeah, we are at Meathead Movers headquarters here in San Luis Obispo, California. This came from a lot of hard work. This is also our main mini storage facility and our call center and accounting and all of the centralized operations that facilitates Meathead Movers' many offices throughout California.
Give us a little bit of a background. When did all this start in a nutshell?
Started the company in 1997 as a way to make money while going to school and play sports. And the deal was real simple. The client would rent the truck, they'd show up and pick us up at our parents' house, pay us whatever they thought we were worth. And it was great because it worked around our school and athletics schedule. Wrestled in high school and in college. I'm a brown belt in jiu-jitsu and I still compete, so.
What's the scale of your business today?
Yeah, we have 70 trucks throughout all of our locations, and that's just the large moving trucks. About 350 employees, and that kind of, fluctuates throughout the year. And we're the largest independent moving company in California.
How many storage units?
About 500 wine storage lockers and over 1,000 just traditional mini storage lockers. And we're also now offering vault storage as well. So that way we're a one-stop shop and all they need to do is give us a phone call. We'll put it right back where they want it.
That's interesting. I never knew there was a business to store wine.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so these trucks are sleek. When did you go from using U-Haul, clients renting their own, to shifting to buying your first truck? How did you finance that?
We were renting so many trucks in the early 2000s. We went to the bank and said, hey, we're spending, I think it was like this much on monthly rentals. Would you give us a loan to buy 5 brand new trucks, which was $300,000 at the time? And our payments would go from here to here. And even though I didn't have any co-signers or any collateral, the bank took a risk and they did the deal. And that just changed everything for us.
How did you come up with the name?
It's not that glamorous of a story, but when the wrestling practice was where we would just work out in the gym and we'd get the gym equipment really sweaty, and the girls, I think it was the volleyball team, would come in. They would be mad at us and say, you guys are a bunch of meatheads. This is gross. This is disgusting. So we were just like, all right, yeah, I guess we're a bunch of meatheads. Let's go ahead and just call ourselves Meathead Movers. It just kind of stuck. It's like self-deprecating. And over the years, a lot of really smart people said, you really should change the brand if you're going to expand outside of San Luis Obispo.
Right.
But hey, it worked. So what can I say?
What's the most creative marketing stunt that you guys have pulled that cost you absolutely almost nothing?
Okay, we would tape 2 ends of broomsticks to a banner, and then we would go to our local farmer's market and go to Staples. For $9.99, you get 1,000 clip art business cards, which have my pager on it, by the way. It kind of dates.
Pager?
Yeah.
What is it?
And then we would all meet at one end, this great barbecue place called Firestone. We would walk downtown and one person say Meathead and everyone else would say Movers. There'd be about 20 of us. We'd just hand out the cards and just be like salmon swimming upstream. And then whenever we were done handing out the cards, then we'd bring everyone back, eat some tri-tip sandwiches and call it a day. But literally had 100 touch points where we're meeting someone, making eye contact, giving them the business card. It was really powerful. And we heard about it for years to come.
And you did it more than once?
Oh yeah, no.
Okay, this is like a normal.
That was a normal thing that we did constantly.
So you grew up with financial instability, right? Where did the entrepreneurial spark come from?
My first job was working at the car wash. I worked for 2 weeks and got a $66 check. And I was like, no way, this is not the way. And I hated doing it. Also, growing up in San Luis Obispo, this is a great area. This is it's kind of a nice, affluent area. And I saw the lifestyle that a lot of my friends and friends' families had. I wanted to have a life that was resourceful and plentiful and be able to share that. I knew that in order for me to have the sort of lifestyle I wanted to have, I had to do something unconventional. And moving was a perfect way for me to accomplish that.
Where to next?
Yeah, well, how about we go crash one of our job sites, and I want to show you something that we do that nobody else does.
All right, let's go drive. Let's talk about how you landed your first initial customers with zero track record. I know it ties into your unique business model, but is there anything else that you can share with us that we can learn and do the same, especially for those guys who are just getting started in a business?
What I would do is just go around into the football bleachers, hand out business cards to all my friends' parents. What I would say is like, hey, I started a moving company. I employ a lot of the athletes. And if there's any help you need whatsoever, just pay us whatever you think we're worth. And they're like, really? I was like, really? It's all good. And I give them a high five, and that was it.
What were the biggest expenses earlier on, and how did you prioritize what to spend on, what to invest in?
You know, we really didn't have that problem because we were just a labor service and I just coordinated everything. So I would just spend as much money as I possibly could buying these magnets. The magnets that would go on the side of car doors. There was a time in St. Louis where you couldn't drive more than 20 minutes without seeing one of our magnets. Like, it really clicked on one time I saw someone have a magnet on their car and I didn't even know who they were. And I was like, oh, this is fun. This is getting neat. And this is getting big.
And the biggest expense then would be what, you buying your trucks how many years into?
Yeah, I mean, it was when I bought that first fleet of trucks for 300 grand.
Where do your bookings come from today?
So a lot of previous customers, a lot of word of mouth, a lot of people who see our trucks, also our internet marketing. We do a little bit of print media, and we also have outside sales reps who we call them territory sales managers.
You do, okay.
And they get a percentage of the work that, that they bring in.
So tell us a little bit about this job.
Yeah.
What does the customer pay, if you're willing to share what you pay your team, and how long will it take?
So this is a 2-truck job in Grover Beach, going from Grover Beach to Santa Clarita, which is just a few hundred miles down south. So a move like this is probably between like $5,000 and $6,000, I would say.
Okay.
And then our cost of goods sold is about half of that.
You know, taking the phone and typing in movers, there's countless movers in the area.
Yeah.
So the question is, what makes you guys different? What makes you stand out?
Well, one, we want to search as high as we possibly can, but also we have guaranteed fixed pricing. You're going to get a collegiate moving experience, and the same movers who load are going to be the same movers who unload as well. And one thing that's unique about our long distance services is we don't put anyone else's items in the truck. So we focus on one customer at a time.
So I heard you encourage your employees to quit.
Yeah.
Really? Like,
No.
what's the deal with that, Aaron?
So it's called encourage turnover. So what we try to do is create as much value for our employees as possible. When we sit down with them and we understand what is it that they want to do in their life, 5 to 10 years out. And whatever it is, we then reverse engineer the valuable lessons and skills that they gain here that's going to help them. So for example, commercial truck driving experience, becoming mentally and physically stronger, leadership skills. You can walk out of this job having managed, hundreds of people if you worked here for a number of years. And then we'll actually show you how to best write your experiences working at Meathead Movers on a resume that you transported, tens of millions of dollars worth of items. You've led hundreds of employees. Your customer service ratings were this. So it means so much more for your next job. And then we'll actually call the hiring manager for the job that our employees are trying to get, so long as it's a step up.
What is the key then to hiring employees that care as much as you do, right? That's sometimes very hard to accomplish.
I think that the key is getting clear with them what their goals are, where not just look at this as a job where we're moving furniture, but this job is a stepping stone for where they want to go next.
So when it comes to branding, marketing, what would you do today to get the story out there? Like, what are some creative campaigns maybe you can take action on?
Yeah, I would say offer coupons of either free or significantly discounted services to people who are in a position to not just use but refer your services, So it can be connectors, right? It can be influencers. In our case, it can be realtors. And it's creating like an actual emotional connection that is, gonna pay off.
Are we okay to go inside? I know it's a customer's home.
Absolutely.
Let's go check it out and see how far they're finished.
All right.
What's your average job value today as opposed to when you started?
Well, it's around $2,000 a job, give or take now.
So typical crew, 2 to 3 guys, right? How many jobs can they do in a day?
It depends on how long the job is, of course, but the average job, it takes the majority of the day.
What add-ons have the highest margin, like package and storage, junk removal, and then are there any services or add-ons that you removed just because the profits weren't there?
Yeah, I would say definitely storage and packing is the best margin, especially storage because it's recurring revenue. We did cut house cleaning because our customers didn't really want to have to pay for a lot of money for that. And we also, the clients wanted us to come back. If there's one little smudge on the mirror or something of that nature, they would want us to come back and fix it. So there was a lot of kind of comeback cost.
Aaron started his business at just 17 years old. No investors, no shortcuts, just a commitment to doing things the right way. Exceptional service, philanthropy, giving back to the community. These were the values that separated Aaron from the pack. Now, years later, his business has scaled into a multi-million-dollar operation without ever losing these core values, because he built a foundation strong enough to handle growth without compromise from day one. That's exactly why millions of entrepreneurs have turned to Busy to launch their businesses. They make setting up a business quick, clear, and ready for growth. No hidden fees, no surprise subscriptions. Just a simple upfront cost that covers everything from LLC formation to compliance tracking. And because Busy is founder-led and bootstrapped, they're focused on helping entrepreneurs succeed, not shareholders. They'll even handle your state filings, provide a professional address with digital mail scanning, and help you stay compliant so your values can grow right alongside your business. Aaron proved that growth doesn't have to mean compromise. So launch your business with Busy and build something that grows with your values, not away from them. Click the link below to learn more. What percentage of customers do you say come back after working with you once?
It's hard to track that exact number, but what I do know is that we close about 90% of them.
What's the largest move that you've ever done so far, and what did it pay?
We did a $500,000 job that we completed just a few months ago down in Southern California. It was a few apartment complexes where they were doing a bunch of remodeling. We moved everything in and then we moved everything out. Yeah, so it was
a $500,000 job.
$500,000 job. Yeah.
How long did that take you guys?
It was over phases, over a few months.
At what point, Aaron, did you start to bring in other services? And right now we're standing in front of your storage unit side of the business.
Yeah.
What percentage of the revenue does this account for?
It's about 10%. We launched this in 2010, and it's been an amazing business. It helps our clients out. You know, a lot of times people need moving and storage. And then this is also a wine area. So adding the wine storage has just been another great addition to have to be able to provide those services to our clients.
Cool. So now we're in the wine locker area.
Yeah.
How many units do we have here?
We have 99 storage units for wine storage here.
And the ambient temperature is supposed to be where?
57. And it's always 57, humidity controlled.
It's interesting, Aaron, because I thought like people would have their own fridge, and who's paying for additional storage for wine?
People who have so much wine that they actually have an abundance of it. Or a lot of times people will join wine clubs and they just want to put it away for 5 years. Typically wine tastes a lot better if it has a little bit of age. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, as it matures.
What's the key to scaling that most entrepreneurs don't often think about?
I think you need to build a team that stands on its own and doesn't revolve around you, that is independent, driven, and feels empowered to drive on their own. In addition, with business, there's so much ups and downs. There's so much challenges. There's so much adversity. There's so many things that are unforeseen that you're not going to expect. For me, what's been absolutely key is putting routines in place and prioritizing my own personal and mental health. Because the better you operate, the more you're gonna be able to achieve, the less friction, the less issues. Eat good food, track your sleep, whatever it is you need to do, it's absolutely worth it, because being successful in business is a marathon, not a sprint.
How did you deal with competitors that tried literally to shut you guys down?
Oh, geez. In the early days, so we were just Meathead Movers. We were a student labor service. The client would rent the truck. Then what happens, we started getting so popular, a group of our local competitors, the more established van line moving companies, they actually hired someone and petitioned the state to shut us down because we didn't have our PUC permit, which is the permit that moving companies need to operate with. But we didn't think we needed it because we were just a student labor service. We didn't actually transport any goods on public road. The client would drive their rental truck there, but we weren't in a position to really argue, or we didn't have the resources to defend ourselves. And they actually shut off our phone lines, and that it felt literally like an act of war, because at that point, we were about 2.5, 3 years into it, and we decided that, hey, we're gonna make this our full-time occupation, and we're gonna get our PUC license, we're gonna get our trucks, and we're gonna compete in the marketplace. And the companies that did that to us are no longer in business, so.
Tell us a little bit about commercial versus residential when it comes to your business. What percentage is what? And what has the higher profit margins and why, you think?
The profit margins are the same because we charge the same amount.
You do, okay.
And about 90% of our business is residential. We primarily, are in-home movers. We do a decent amount of commercial too, but in the major metro areas, in Los Angeles and Orange County and whatnot, a lot of those businesses want us to move in the middle of the night so they don't have much downtime, and we just don't do that.
Back to those first initial customers. How can other business owners, new business owners, implement that strategy of offering your service for free? Kind of sounds bizarre to offer something for free.
No, there's a lot of power in offering something for free. If you explain to the business why you're offering for free, it really develops a heck of a relationship. And I think there's something to be said about like the power of reciprocity too, where if I give you something, it's natural for you to want to give me something.
I feel like I owe you.
You know? I kind of feel like you owe me a little bit. And it's a way of pulling versus pushing too.
All right, Blitz time with Aaron. You ready?
I don't believe you. All right,
I would love to hear what motivation Aaron had to make such a bold move and what steps he took to make it come true.
It was my best option, It became super clear to me that we were solving a problem that needed to be solved. All my friends were awesome employees, and I enjoyed the flexibility. I mean, it made absolute sense. And then when the competition turned off my phone lines, that's when I felt like it was an act of war and I was going for blood.
It says, hey, starting out in the same field, what's the best people to market at the beginning when starting out?
Oh, I would say high-end residential, knock on those doors. Anytime there's a for sale sign, knock on the door, leave a door hanger. It's pretty easy to find out who's selling the most amount of real estate. Ask for just a couple minutes of their time and let them know that I'm here for you before, during, and after the move, and I'm never going to let you down. Look them in the eye, tell them that. People are going to give you a shot.
I love it. Before, during, and after. What's the heaviest piece of furniture you've ever moved?
Oh, geez. Pianos.
If Meathead Movers had a mascot, what would it be and why?
Oh, it's the dog bear. It's on the wall.
What's the most moves you personally did in the span of one day?
3.
What's the absolute weirdest thing a customer has asked you to move?
A dead plant. And then was screaming at us while we were moving the dead plant to not injure it.
Couple more. If a 17-year-old Aaron could see you now, what would surprise him the most?
That my brother's no longer involved in the business. Yeah.
All right. If you could never be in the moving business again, what would you do instead?
I think I'd probably do something that involved coaching and wrestling. I would also do something that involved storage. I would also do something that probably involved sales.
Okay. Last one. What's something everyone assumes about running a $20 million company that's wrong?
They can just have carefree vacations.
That was awesome. Cool.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
So how do you maintain quality and consistency across 350 plus employees, multiple locations? What's the key?
That's the trick right there. One, we follow up with all of our customers at the end of every job. And then we're very analytical. There's a lot of back-end systems where we're tracking all kinds of things, our breakage to move ratio, their quality scores, also the driving safety scores. There's actually a whole team stack ranking for our workers and our team captains, which are the crew leads, which basically square up how everyone is doing based upon the most important KPIs. And we're constantly adjusting it and incentivizing it as well, and looking at that and making tweaks and coaching suggestions, improving our training. So that's the secret sauce right there.
So you tend to employ a lot of athletes.
Yes.
What makes them great employees, especially for what you guys do?
Oh, that's easy. So our job is to move heavy things up and down. I mean, our job is to move heavy things up and down stairs, and then we actually run when not carrying anything. So we have the highest work standard in the industry. Our employees are required to jog when not carrying anything.
Wait, that's actually procedure?
Yes, it's procedure. So it's a brand promise we make. It's something that all of our clients expect. And it's a commitment that each of our movers make when they work at Meathead Movers. We jog when not carrying anything. So what takes us, say, 5 hours to do a job will take a typical company like 6 or 6.5 hours to do a job. So it saves our clients time and money. There's like an upbeat tempo and pace, and it feels good. It's like an adrenaline. It feels kind of like an athletic event, our moves. Plus, athletes, they're used to performing well under pressure. They like to push themselves mentally and physically. And there's a lot of crossover between having a great job on a move and providing a lot of value. And there's a physical and mental component to it as well.
Right. If you were to start today with $100, Aaron,
Yeah.
what would be your first move, your first step?
I'd invest in PR. It's so much more powerful when someone else is talking about you versus when you're talking about yourself. And if you can leverage the credibility of whatever media outlet, like what you guys are doing for Meathead Movers is incredibly valuable right now, and I really appreciate it.
Our pleasure.
But if you can leverage a media outlet's credibility and get them saying things about you, it's an amplifier, and you can then reference that in the future as a credibility booster in all of your marketing. It's going to get you a media business, and it's going to make you an authority in whatever field that you have. And a lot of we can all send out press releases, but what people don't get is when you use a good PR firm, what you're leveraging is the relationships that they have, where they can just immediately get on the phone and make it happen.
Yep.
I've had PR people that have got me on Fox News in just one phone call. I think PR is an underutilized superpower.
So how do you feel about competitors copying your ideas, and how do you feel about competitors in general?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we really have any real competitors. And if someone wants to imitate, our marketing and our hiring practices and scale it to the degree that we have, good luck. It was really hard.
King.
It's America, and I believe in entrepreneurship. We have really been inspired by a lot of great companies to do things, and we try to take what we can from other businesses as well. And if we're going to compete, I'm going to compete as hard as I possibly can in whatever way or capacity that we can, so long as it's like legal and ethical. But I do believe that competition does make us better, and I'm up to compete with any business that wants to compete with us. But that just means you have to keep reinventing yourself, keep giving the customer and your employee a reason to choose your company first.
Well said. What's one decision that seemed small at the time, but had a huge impact for the business?
I would periodically get calls from women in abusive situations who are looking to leave their abusers, and we would just help them out for free. We kept doing that over and over till eventually found ourselves in a high-risk situation where we realized we needed to partner with a women's shelter in order to keep doing it and in a safe way. What I didn't realize is that by doing that thing, and it's now a core part of who we are, we offer unlimited free services to 9 different shelters throughout Central and Southern California.
Wow.
It has given our moving company so much more purpose, and so many of our employees, including our chief operating officer, came to Meathead Movers because they wanted to be a part of a company that serves that kind of mission,
That's amazing.
And also, so many of our employees have had their hands helping, do these sort of moves, being a part of that process. And I think it's a powerful statement to our employees where they can be part of the process of the solution. Even in really hard financial times, it's never been something we've even discussed of considering cutting back.
So in the early days, how long did it take you to stop doing the moving yourself, Aaron?
I would say I was pretty removed from the moving on a daily basis after about 3 years. But still, from time to time, even to this day, I'll still go out and do a moving job. I read a book that was really transformative called The E-Myth by Michael Gerber. And basically what that book says is work on the business, not in the business. So I've always chosen to try to look at my business like I was a mechanic working on an engine, and my business being the engine, versus me being like in the engine,
right?
And even though it costs more and you have to hire people to replace yourself, this, that, and the other, that truly is, I think, a key to being able to grow and expand, and also be able to step away from time to time, which is important.
Besides E-Myth Revisited, we hear that book very often. What other entrepreneurial books have really had a big impact on you personally and your success?
Okay, I'm gonna give you 2, sorry.
Let's do it,
All right,
love books.
1, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey, an absolute classic. It completely transformed how I approach my day-to-day work and leadership too. It is really just so much wisdom in that book. And then also Atomic Habits as well. We are a practice, the habits that we have, the life, the business, it talks about our systems, and it breaks down how to create habits and systems that back into your goals that you're trying to reinforce. And the probability of success is so much higher if you develop a habit towards working towards that success. Simple concept, but it breaks it down on an easy to digest way. And it truly is a superpower if you know and understand how to put habits in place for yourself and procedures for your business to do the same thing over and over again. And with that, you can develop mastery in whatever it is, athletics, business, personal relationships as well. It's all interconnected.
What's one piece of entrepreneurial advice that you completely disagree with?
That you need to hire the most experienced, expensive experts in every single field.
Okay.
I totally disagree with that. A lot of times whenever I've gone that route, they thought they knew better. They weren't open to suggestions. They weren't open to our way of thinking or doing things. And maybe what they did had worked in different environments at different times. But I've always been able to create the most amount of magic, I like to call it, when I work with someone who's open-minded, who I like working with, who likes working with me, where we can look at a problem and really kind of square up to it and try to solve it together in a group dynamic, as opposed to someone thinking they're the czar.
Switching gears here a little bit, let's talk about a scenario where you get a bad review, bad review, 1 star.
Yeah.
How would you go about addressing it with your staff, with your team members, and then the customer?
Yeah, so there's an email that gets sent out to the management team. Usually the operations manager responds as to what happened, if there was coaching, if the client was reached out to or not, if the team member was reached out to or not. And then there's an action plan as to how do we go about, addressing it. Of course, we try to resolve the issue with the client, see if there's learning lessons. Sometimes we can, sometimes we can't, but we take each one seriously and it does get reviewed and discussed.
Can you give us a number on what you're spending today for Google Ads, SEO, SEM, et cetera?
Yeah, about 50, 60 grand a month.
Pretty good number. Yeah. And is that handled in-house?
No, we have partners who handle that for us. So it's something that we constantly track and make adjustments, as time goes on. But it's amazing how things are changing and evolving. We're now focusing more on the location near me module in Google. We think that more people are searching that when searching for in-home service businesses.
What's the secret to getting 5-star reviews? Because one of your locations has, I think, 930 plus rating at 4.8, which is almost 5, right, in that world.
It takes a lot of hard work. You got to focus on what the customer wants, what makes them happy, and then reverse engineer, all of the client touch points to basically stoke them out. We try to come in under the not to exceed price on the price. We try to check in with them. We offer concierge services, just like staying at a 5-star hotel, where we try to help them set up their utilities and all kinds of things just to make the entire relocation as easy as possible. But it's not just doing and delivering great service. You got to ask for the 5-star review too.
I'm sure that with rapid growth came opportunities to franchise. You've been at this for close to 30 years now, yet you're still keeping it 100% private. Where's your head at with regards to that, and do you plan to go franchise?
Yeah, we do plan on franchising outside the state of California. We're very much looking forward to that. Our goal is to have all company-owned stores within California, just kind of own that market, because California is a different beast. We know how to do it, and it's something that we're very much looking forward to. And what we also want to do is provide opportunities to our existing employees, where if you're an operations manager or a sales manager and you're really good at what you do and there's a high level of trust, where you can then get promoted and sent out and open up your own franchise. So start as a mover, get promoted, run one of our locations, and then end as a business owner, owning your own franchise somewhere within the United States.
And so why didn't you go franchise earlier on? I mean, you're still not a franchise, just to be clear.
Yeah.
Right? But you're thinking about it.
We just didn't feel ready. There's always the next step, the next thing that we need to work on, the next glaring issue that needs to get fixed and solved. And I don't want to franchise until we've been able to reach the vision of Meathead Movers first, which is having a local office throughout the state of California and having things be running absolutely seamlessly. And they're running extremely well, but I would like to tighten it up and package it up even more.
Wow. Are you a perfectionist?
No.
Someone would say, for 28 years after experience, you're probably ready for franchise, but
yeah, well, maybe just slow.
No, you take your time, make the right moves.
Yeah.
What's one thing in your journey that seemed like an epic opportunity at that time, but you're so glad today, in hindsight, that you actually turned it down?
When Meathead Movers started doing really well in San Luis Obispo, and we wanted to continue to grow, but we kind of tapped out here. We had a decision, how are we going to grow? And part of me thought maybe we should get into house cleaning or get into valet services or get into being bodyguards and security, you know, because there's a good crossover, you know, from type of people that work at Meathead to doing also those sort of jobs too. But I'm so glad that I didn't, because instead we know what we do really well here with the moving. We do it better than anyone else. And we decided to scale it and open up more offices and just keep true to who we are and what has worked, as opposed to just trying to serve San Luis Obispo, which is kind of a smaller market, and do a bunch of niche services. Probably in a mediocre way, we can provide high-level moving services with the right type of employee day in and day out. And now we're spread throughout Central and Southern California with plans to grow more.
What is the riskiest move, Aaron, that you would say you've taken so far to continue to grow this business?
Getting a litigation with the federal government was the most intense, riskiest thing, because there are so many unknowns with that. But
you didn't choose to get involved.
No, I didn't choose to, but I chose to continue.
You chose to continue, okay.
Yeah, I chose to continue to litigate it until we eventually had a mediated settlement agreement. Mm-hmm. But millions of dollars in legal fees and years of distractions and stress.
And that was the right move?
Absolutely, because Meathead Movers is still here.
Any takeaways, any lessons we can extract from that experience? I mean, as unpleasant as it is.
If you are in trouble with the government, you need to know, do you feel that you're in a justified position or not? Do you feel that when the light gets shined bright on your situation and issue, are you going to be vindicated or not? Mm-hmm. And then it's a long battle, because they have endless resources. So just be prepared to deal with it for a really really time, and also just keep the lines of communication open. And eventually, you know, even though some of the folks that maybe you weren't able to communicate with well, there may be folks at the agency or the department that you will be able to communicate with well, and, you know, structure some sort of deal or resolution.
What's the secret that saves customers money and keeps them coming back over and over?
Yeah, so there's a few things. Number one, when we're collecting the inventory, don't try to tell us something different than what it actually is. You know, give us an accurate inventory so we can plan appropriately. And then two, if you haven't used anything in a long time, consider donating it or getting rid of it. Why pay to move something that you're not gonna want or need? And then also see how we can back the truck right up to this house. That makes it a lot easier for us and quicker for us to load and unload. If you're gonna help do the packing on your own, make sure that the boxes are taped shut and fully packed. Also have the boxes labeled as to what they are, so then that way we can put them in the right room the first time.
How do you label boxes, prevent damage, and kind of plan everything out? Like, what's the rule that you guys live by?
Yeah, so there's a couple things. Number one, properly train your team. We invest so much in training programs, and then we actually pay our employees more when things don't get broken or damaged. Also, what we do is we pad wrap the items as well. So we'll shrink wrap the dresser drawers and then put the pad over it. And then we have rubber bands that secure it as well. And then when we're labeling the boxes, we look to label into the rooms that we're actually going into. So not what it is, but where it needs to go.
What's the key to picking the most profitable niche that people don't often think about?
I would go to people that have a lot of discretionary income, and I would try to figure out what problems it is that they're trying to solve. What gets in the way? What are the biggest time sucks that they would feel comfortable delegating, you know?
That's a good point.
Yeah, and it sounds so silly, but I mean, just pressure washing, for example, getting on a reoccurring basis of like pressure washing your driveway and your backyard. And I think that would be a really good viable business in any local service market. Also, another easy one is trash cans. I bet people would be willing to pay probably $50, $100 a month to have their trash cans brought in and brought back. It's like one less thing that people have to worry about, and go to the nicer neighborhoods where they're traveling more.
Society's getting lazy. People can't even drag their bin back to the garage. But
exactly.
Hey, it's a business opportunity.
Yeah, no, that's it. That's exactly right. Is it sexy? No. Can anyone do it? Yes. Yeah. And is it reoccurring and scalable? Yes. You know, so
good point. So you donate hundreds and hundreds of moves every year, you guys. And I want to ask the question, why?
Yeah.
What's the core there?
Well, there is no thing greater that a moving company can do to make a difference than to literally move someone out of a domestic violence situation. You know, I can't think of anything we could do that's going to have more of an impact, not just on the people that we're moving, but also on our employees that are actually moving them. It's a huge part of who we are. We actually made it part of our mission statement, you know? So it feels good. It's the gift we give to each community that we operate in, and it's something that we plan on doing forevermore.
What's been your most unexpected business challenge, and how did you overcome it?
Oh, geez. I would just say the economy is so unpredictable.
Man, you've been through a lot, too, since 1997.
Yeah, lots of ups and downs, lots of unforeseeable things. You know, the COVID was a surge, and then it's dropped the past couple years. And I've even had to call each of my vendors at times of my business and renegotiate terms and ask for flexibility and ask for delayed payment terms. And most of them said yes, you know, which is really good.
Mm-hmm.
I think what's important is that if you find yourself in a financial pinch, that you reach out and you try to just be straightforward and communicate it ahead of time, as opposed to just stop paying and have them reach out to you aggravated.
What's your advice to somebody that wants to get into this business today, but they think they need capital or experience to get going?
If you have the mindset that you're willing to work, do what's necessary to become successful, do what's necessary to overcome challenges, that's the most important thing is your mindset. It's not your set of circumstances, it's how you're going to respond to problems. And are you going to be able to get people to want to work with you and want to work for you?
Loved seeing how Aaron built Meathead Movers from scratch? Then check out this episode where Osvaldo turns $500 into $23,000 a month as a side hustle while working his full-time job as an accountant. Take a second, like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.